Some time ago, we did a video talking about how people are overthinking their black tanks. This is kind of an extension of that. Hi, I'm Felix.
And I'm Cindy.
In 2019, we sold everything and moved into our RV full-time.
Since then, we've been traveling the country following my nursing contracts. On this channel, we hope to help others find their path to full-time RV living. We are the Roaming Gomes.
Welcome back, everyone, and for those of you new to the channel, I'm Felix.
And I'm Cindy.
And we are the Roaming Gomes. And it was a pretty uneventful week.
Which is good.
Yeah, we kind of needed an uneventful week. I do not have my truck back yet. They are replacing the transmission in its entirety. It was not repairable. So I'm getting a new transmission. And supposed to be getting it back day after tomorrow. If so, we'll be talking about it in our next video. Cindy had to work 3 in a row, or so she thought, which she hates. But
3 12-hour shifts in a row is a lot.
yeah, absolutely.
On the third day, you kind of start not liking people anymore, and that's not good for a nurse. So,
But as it turned out,
I got put on call on the third day. That has never happened to me as a travel nurse. I hear a lot about other people getting that done, and it's a different pay scale when you're on call, and you get different pay if you get called back, and I didn't get called back, so I just had to be within a decent driving distance of the hospital, which is where we live. It's 5 minutes from the hospital, so no big deal. But that was nice. Got a little extra day off, a little extra relaxation, and
then tomorrow she starts 3 in a row again.
yeah.
But let's get to this week's video. And I said in a previous video, as I mentioned in the opener, that I felt like people were overthinking their black tanks. And one of the big things that I think people are overthinking about is the amount of chemicals that they need to add to their black tanks. Now, just like everybody else, we've tried them all pretty much. There for a time we were using something called Simply Green. It worked. We were using the TST pods. We've used, it was a Commando or something like that from Walmart. Never used Happy Camper, which everybody seems to think is the be-all and end-all. But the truth of the matter is, we didn't need any of them.
When somebody, a new person, new RVer, asks that question on Facebook, the number of answers that there are always amazes me. How many different opinions people have on what is the best thing to do to prevent odors, to help the chemical breakdown of solids, and all of that you want to have happen in your black tank. But it astounds me that it's not just something simple.
And it really, honestly, is something simple. Just a little bit of background. I'm going to get kind of technical with you all. Just a little bit of background. I used to be the president of the Bucks County Aquarium Society when I lived in Pennsylvania. My apartment looked like the local aquarium. I had 22 aquariums in my apartment, ranging in size from 30-gallon to 120 gallons. And I was maintaining all of them. Now,
which sounds like a full-time job to me. This was before I met him, so.
Yeah. I was with my now longtime ex-girlfriend, and she was the vice president of the Bucks County Aquarium Society. And there's a very, very simple comparison to be drawn between aquariums and black tanks. In a natural aquarium, something you're not putting all plastic plants into and silly stuff, if you're going to run a natural aquarium, and all of ours were, you have to cycle the water. Cycling the water consists of putting fish in there that are very hardy, allowing them to start producing waste, and then allowing the bacteria and chemicals to grow in the water that basically feed off that waste. Once that occurs, and it usually takes about 2 to 4 weeks in an aquarium, the water is self-sufficient.
Science.
Science. And what will happen is that any fish in there will produce feces and urine. The urine creates a ammonia buildup in the water. That makes nitrates start to build. Nitrites start to build. Will actually feed on the ammonia. They are still not good for fish. Nitrites. What then occurs is that nitrates start to build up, and they eat the nitrites, and they are food for the plants and fish that are in your aquarium. Once that cycle occurs, you don't have to worry about taking the feces or the urine out of the water anymore. You still do a 1/3 water change. I won't get into all of that, the maintenance of it. But with 22 tanks in our home, we were able to cycle 1 tank and then seed the rest of the tanks with part of that water. Now, how does that relate to a black tank?
Good question.
A black tank, for all intents and purposes, and I said this in the previous video, is not a septic tank. It's not pushing the waste out into a substrate, which is the ground. What it's doing is it's holding it. A black tank is a holding tank. A gray tank is a holding tank. So, without the living matter in there, the living beings in there, you are putting your waste into this holding tank, feces and urine, and you have the same thing occurring. Nitrites will build up, then nitrates will build up, bacteria will build.
Oh, so it's microbiology.
Right. Which Cindy, by the way, is currently studying to get her California license.
Cindy is currently struggling with microbiology.
So, what happens? Those nitrates, those nitrites, and that bacteria build up in your holding tank and feed on the waste, thereby breaking it down. Now, none of this may be applicable to part-timers or weekend warriors. And you can see the definition of those in our last video. But for full-timers, it absolutely is applicable. And when you empty your tank, you're not emptying your tank entirely. Nobody can. Once you start putting water back in there, your tank's already seeded, like the aquarium. And you now have basically a biological ecosystem in the tank. Now, let's talk about the odors. That biological effect, that action that's occurring in your tank is what's causing the odors. As your waste is breaking down, it's releasing odor, and it's coming up through your toilet into your RV. Yeah. Not fun. You still don't need to buy chemicals for that. Not too long ago, about the same time that I did the black tank video, I discovered a company called Clean Tank. Heads up, they are not a sponsor. I've actually never even been in touch with them. However, they have a formula that they give away free on their website. There'll actually be a link to it in the description. And it's very simple. You get yourself a 1-gallon jug. You put in you empty a 40-ounce bottle of Pine Sol, and it should be absolutely Pine Sol. No other brand. Because other brands with the pine scent, the chemical that they use to create that pine scent can be corrosive to your black tank.
So only the Pine Sol brand?
Correct.
Right. Okay.
Okay. And the pine scent. I don't even know if Pine Sol does any other scent, but pine scented Pine Sol. Then you take a half a cup of Calgon bath beads.
Does it matter which flavor? Not flavor, odor. No, odor.
Scent.
Okay. Scent. Well, does it matter which scent of Calgon?
It does not.
So when you say Calgon, take me away, it's whatever scent you want.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Calgon, take me away.
And you put that in the 1-gallon jug with the Pine Sol. What's going to happen is you're going to get a lot of foaming. Let that subside a bit, and then slowly fill the jug, the 1-gallon jug, the rest of the way with water. You're not going to want to shake it up yet, because it's probably going to overflow.
Yeah.
Okay? Let it settle. When you use this formula, you use 10 ounces of this every time you do your black tank. Put it in the toilet before you flush. Well, before you do anything in the toilet. After you empty the black tank, flush it down and let some additional water go in there. I can unequivocally state, and I won't, I'll let Cindy state whether or not that has kept us
We have
odor-free.
not, I have not smelled anything other than that concoction that you make. I've not smelled anything but that since you started using it.
And I mean, don't get me wrong, Pine Sol's strong.
And it's really only strong right after you do it.
Right.
In a few hours, the next time you go in the bathroom, you really don't even smell it. So.
Yeah, and you don't smell anything. And that's really the key there. And the chemicals that people are buying commercially, like Happy Camper, Unique, TST, all of them, what they do is rather than break down your waste into a watery substance, they break down your waste into a sludge. And what that does is it lines the inside of your tank, and this is why nobody's sensors work. Other than the fact that they're poorly designed to begin with.
Yeah.
But you're never going to get that out of there without a power cleaning of your black tank. And eventually, over time, as that builds up more and more, you could end up actually clogging your tank.
Nobody wants that.
No. So forget the chemicals. And if you want to see the black tank video that we did, just click right here.